Let's go with more hints, because we already have an official spoiler for One Piece chapter 1171. Ready? Let's do this, right after the intro. Hello Nakamas, welcome back to the channel. Today we're coming in with scorching hot content about One Piece chapter 1171, so buckle up because the information is heavy. We already have a confirmation that can be considered the first real spoiler of the chapter, plus 2 visual hints that are guaranteed to spark huge debates across the community. And trust me, one of these hints could completely change how we understand Prince Loki. But before we dive into these revelations, drop that like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet, and turn on notifications. Every single like helps the channel grow and bring even more One Piece content for you. All right, let's go, because the hype is off the charts. First hint. Let's start with the first hint, which is a bit mysterious. We see a cat petting and trying to bite or hug a man's head. Honestly, this one is pretty hard to interpret within the main story's context. That's why my guess is that this refers to a cover story illustration or a fan request for this week's color spread. As you know, we're not currently following a fixed cover story series, the kind Oda usually develops over multiple chapters. So it's very likely just a thematic illustration or a cute moment Oda felt like drawing. It might sound less exciting than the other hints, but hey, Oda's color spreads are always packed with hidden details. Who knows? There might be an Easter egg there that we'll only notice later. The big confirmation everyone was waiting for. Now we reach the confirmation that everyone has been waiting for. According to reliable leakers, Chapter 1171 marks the definitive end of King Harold's flashback and the revelations about Joy Boy's past. That's right, everyone. We're finally returning to the present in Elbaf. And let me be honest with you. For many fans, myself included, this was one of the best flashbacks in the entire series. The revelations about Joy Boy, the ancient kingdom, the giants, and the true history of the world were absurdly well executed by Oda. That said, we can't deny the flashback had been going on for quite a while. We've spent several weeks deep in the past, and the anticipation to see what happens in the present just kept growing. What comes next? With the flashback ending, several things become very clear. The meeting between Luffy and Imu-sama feels closer than ever. We'll finally see the consequences of all these historical revelations in the present. The storyline involving Loki and his imprisonment should now take center stage. And most importantly, what will the Straw Hats do with all this knowledge about the past? Oda's narrative structure is pure genius. He gave us all the historical context we needed before pushing the story forward. Now, as readers, we know just as much as the most informed characters in the world. The hint that will blow fans' minds. And now we arrive at the hint that's going to explode the fandom's brains. Get ready, because this one is heavy. The image shows a massive glacier with the word Niflheim written on it. What is Niflheim? For those unfamiliar with Norse mythology, here's a quick breakdown. Niflheim, which means world of mist or home of mist, is one of the 9 primordial realms in Norse cosmology. It represents extreme cold, absolute darkness, primordial ice. In mythology, Niflheim lies north of the abyss known as Ginnungagap and is the complete opposite of Muspelheim, the realm of fire and heat. And here's the fascinating part. It's from the interaction between Niflheim's ice and Muspelheim's fire that the world itself is created. From Niflheim emerged the primordial giant Ymir and the cow Audumbla, both fundamental figures in the creation of the Norse universe. The Ice Nika theory. Now comes the insane part. This revelation about Niflheim gives us a completely new perspective on Prince Loki and his powers. Let's connect the dots. 1. Loki's powers. It's very likely that Loki's transformation involves an ice dragon or some form of large-scale ice manipulation. Imagine a mythical zone that controls the very concept of primordial ice. 2. Loki's weakness finally makes sense. Remember when Hajrudin went after the Mera Mera no Mi during the tournament in Dressrosa? That always felt a bit odd, but now it makes total sense. Fire is likely Loki's critical weakness. Hajrudin, as someone from Elbaf, knew about Loki's powers and went after the perfect countermeasure just in case. the Mera Mera no Mi would be the ideal weapon. 3. The perfect opposite of Luffy. Here's the deepest theory of all. If Luffy is the sun god, representing fire, warmth, freedom, laughter, and light, then Loki may be introduced as a kind of ice Nika or anti-Nika. Think about this perfect duality. Luffy, sun, heat, freedom, laughter, light. Loki, ice, cold, imprisonment, darkness. A clash between two opposing divine forces. And considering Loki is imprisoned precisely because he's too dangerous, this idea carries even more weight. 4. The big question. Could Loki's devil fruit literally be named something like the Niflheim fruit or Hito Hito no Mi model Niflheim? That would set a massive precedent because we'd be dealing with a fruit that represents not just a mythical creature, but an entire cosmological concept, a primordial realm. Release schedule. All right, now let's lock in the schedule so you know when everything drops. Tuesday, first detailed spoilers start leaking. Wednesday, full chapter summary. Thursday, chapter release for reading. Sunday, official release on Manga Plus. Important notice, unfortunately, a break has been confirmed after chapter 1171. I know, it hurts. But remember, Oda's health comes first. These breaks are essential for him to keep delivering the insane quality that One Piece is known for. So, what did you think about these revelations? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Loki really has ice powers? Does the Ice Nika theory make sense to you? How do you imagine a confrontation between Luffy and Loki? What's the connection between Niflheim and the Void Century? I absolutely love reading your theories. The One Piece community is incredible at connecting the dots Oda leaves scattered everywhere. If you enjoyed the video and want more content like this, don't forget to leave that sacred like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Share this with that friend who's also addicted to One Piece. I'll see you in the next video with the full spoilers for Chapter 1171. Until next time, thank you, Nakamas.